I am making this video which is completely different from the usual subject matter that I speak about, but it's something that I want to talk about, and it's about the current potential major catastrophe that we're all dealing with, and that is the war between Russia and Ukraine. That is the unlawful invasion of a madman of Russia, of a sovereign democratically elected president against a country innocently invaded by a crazy madman. Now, everybody has their take on it, but there are some facts that no one can deny. For example, that Vladimir Putin has stated many times that he has visions of returning the present-day Russia into the old Soviet Union glory, quote-unquote glory, where they were, all the way from Alaska all the way to the borders of Germany, West Germany in Berlin. And they had all those satellite countries, you name it, Romania, at the time Yugoslavia, Czechoslovakia, Czech Republic, all those other Baltic states, Ukraine, Poland, all those countries under their thumb. By force, of course, but he wants to go back. He wants to take Russia back to that time where they had all those countries under their sphere of influence, so that he can be the leader. Some visions like Hitler had. I read one English analyst. I heard him on the TV saying that he needs to be reminded, meaning Putin needs to be reminded, that there were many such empires in the world: the Persian Empire, the Roman Empire, the Ottoman Empire, and the Greek Empire. All these empires that were once big, as well as the British Empire, of course, where the sun never set on the British Empire. And then that he needs to accept that these things don't last forever. Times change and situations change. Now, we're dealing with a madman who's holding the world hostage because he has nuclear weapons, the technology of which they stole from the Germans from World War II. Anyone knows that Russians generally are not very capable people, meaning the things that they make are not exactly of highest quality. If you, I've lived in countries where their main airplanes were, Russians, Tupolovs and Ilyushins, and they were dropping out of the sky like flies. Nobody wanted to fly them. And I remember when the Russian submarine was stuck at the bottom of the North Sea, and other countries offered to help them, and they said no, and all the sailors ended up dying. And then a few months, like a year later, another Russian submarine got stuck at the bottom of the sea, and this time the British offered to help, and they let them help them, and all of the sailors were saved. You can Google this. This is all part of history. I'm making nothing up. But we're dealing with a man that because of his personal pride and the trauma that he experienced when the wall fell in East Germany, and he was suddenly caught when his world came crashing down, and it left such a powerful negative impression on him when he kept calling Moscow and Moscow was silent. This is when the wall came down and West and East Germany were being reunited, and basically the communism was crashing down. Now remember, this is a guy that from a very young age has been brainwashed by the left and the East, being taught that the West is evil. They're trying to kill us and rape our women and impose their decadent, filthy Western ideas on us, and destroy our pure, beautiful communist ideology and way of life, which is all a bunch of BS. But when they keep drilling that into your head and brainwash you strongly, you'll believe it. If you ever have a chance to watch the movie Red Sparrow, I strongly suggest that you do, because it'll give you a very good idea they have some very good scenery where you can see how the KGB operates in Russia pre falling of the Berlin Wall. Now, a lot of you may not know this, but Putin right now is not in Moscow. He is not in Kremlin. He is hiding in his bunker in some city north of Moscow, I think about 70 miles north of Moscow, because he is living in deep paranoia. He is so scared of being assassinated and killed, and that he keeps a distance from everybody. If you've seen his latest meetings with the heads of states, he sits at this very bizarre, long oval table, about 30 meters long, far away from them, because he's afraid that they might do something. They might have brought some secret poisoning agent, because he himself very much engages in eliminating his political opponents via all different kinds of poisoning. He assassinated one other major political opponent in the streets of London via all kinds of chemicals and poisoning and all kinds of things like that. So he's afraid of the same thing being done to him. He's also very much in deep paranoia about being assassinated by one of his military leaders. And don't forget the oligarchs, the mafia Russian oligarchs, who are multi-billionaires, and they're seeing their world crashing down. And believe me, they care about their money and their lifestyle much more than some 70-year-old crazy ex-KGB guy who happens to be have his finger on the nuclear arsenal and holding the whole world hostage. So the present situation is this: a crazy madman, very much like Hitler, but not as intelligent as Hitler, unfortunately, who is holding the world hostage. And make no mistake about it, his plan is to take over the entire Ukraine, like he has, and place a puppet. He's already picked the old puppet, Lukashenko, who was his puppet. He wants to replace him to force rule the people of Ukraine under his umbrella, under his Russian umbrella. They can't even run their own country, and so they want to run other countries. He wants it to have exactly like Belarus, where the guy does what he says. And he wants to continue on to the Baltics and Poland and Moldova and Romania and Bulgaria and all those other countries, Czech Republic, Slovak Republic, all those other countries that were under the Soviet Union umbrella. He wants to bring them all back in. And exactly the same way that he did with Ukraine. He first recognized those two republics, Luhansk and Donetsk, and then he said, we're just recognizing them and we're just helping them and from attacks from the Ukrainians. And then he started attacking the whole country, and he said, even if you think of interfering, remember we have nuclear weapons. I'm paraphrasing, but that's exactly what he was saying, threatening the world. Now, what do you think is going to stop him from, after Ukraine, going into Poland, going into the Baltics, going into Finland and Sweden, and saying, we have the nuclear weapons, largest, 5,900 and something odd number of nuclear warheads. That is why it's important for this guy to be stopped at all costs. If we're lucky, I think the most ideal scenario would be one of his own people knocking him out, which would be difficult, but it's possible, or some other way. But make no mistake about it, from my personal experience and from what I read and what I hear, this can go anywhere. I mean, just the other day, they attacked a nuclear power plant in Ukraine, and now Europeans had an emergency session this morning because now they're saying, okay, well, it's going to be affecting our lifestyle. So now they got a strong wake-up call. What if, that nuclear power plant gets attacked and there's nuclear contamination, radiation all over Europe, all over our farmlands, all over our countries in the West? They're not going to stand for that. And don't think that this is a contained thing within Ukraine and it's not going to affect our lifestyle, because it very well might. Remember, US didn't also enter the World War II until long after it had started. So I don't mean to alarm anybody, but I just wanted to put my 2 cents in about this Russian madman, Putin, who, because of his own crazy visions, because of his own psychiatric issues that he has developed since the Berlin Wall fell, He's making the whole world pay. Imagine how many people in Ukraine are suffering, are homeless, have died, have had their children die. I saw a 6-year-old child get shot and die in the news. I saw an elderly woman that was magically found in an apartment building that was bombed, and she was speechless and she was shaking. Imagine all of this suffering going on because of one man. One man. This is not supported by the rest of the Russians, most of them. One man who thinks that his dream of taking Russia back to, basically turning back the time, the hands of time, is worth making the entire world suffer. I, like you, hope that it ends well, but I just wanted to share with you my 2 cents. All the best.